from the Mercy One studio. Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Welcome to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. I'm Kelly Mesher-Collins at the Diocese of Des Moines. On today's show, we're talking about the annual Diocesan Appeal and the programs, priests, and seminarians it supports. Our guest today is Maureen Kenny, Director of Stewardship for the Diocese of Des Moines. But before we get to today's interview, let's find out what's on the Bishop's mind.
Good morning, Kelly. Good to be
Morning.
with you. Spring
Good to be
kind of
here.
seems to maybe approaching.
right.
Daylight savings this weekend, so we've got to fast from an hour of sleep, but hope people are
Yes.
into their
It'll
Lenten
be worth
disciplines and kind of hitting their stride in that regard. That would be marvelous. So with the first Sunday of Lent last Sunday, the first opportunity to celebrate the rite of election. So we had rite of election at Corpus Christi for kind of the western part of the diocese. You know, I don't know that we were taking anybody from the Archdiocese of Omaha. We'll leave that over there across the river. But so we had a beautiful celebration there. The catechumens, those who have not been baptized, were received, as well as affirming the candidates, those who maybe are baptized in Catholic or Christian communions, and so the preparing for confirmation and their first Holy Communion. So it was a beautiful celebration there, and then two celebrations at St. Ambrose Cathedral. Many of our Hispanic brothers and sisters joined us for the second one, and so I don't think my Spanish was flowing very well. So their Lent started even earlier, as they had to listen
But
to
you're
me
your worst
as
critic,
part of Lenten penance with that regard. So thanks to that, and then kind of a lighthearted evening with the St. Pius X parish community, the chili supper, sponsored by the Holy Name Society and Rosary Joy, and a lot of fun, lots of different generations there, and we just kind of bantered a little bit back and forth and had a lot of opportunity to be with them also. So kind of how we're moving into that. I'm intrigued across from the Pastoral Center downtown, the Pro Swim Series is taking place at the downtown Wellmark Y, and I was expecting my brother Dave, Coach Dave, to show up.
right.
In fact, Katie Ledecky was asking, "Where's your brother, Coach
Wow.
Dave?" You know, so
Yeah, wow.
well, maybe not exactly, but
Okay, I was like, wow, he's really out there in the swimming world.
But Dave, if you're out there, just know I've got a
Rats.
room if you want to stay at the Cathedral Rectory. I'll get you a corporate rate on that, and
Yeah,
you'll be good
we'll
to
even
go.
your office, you have a
We'll be good to
view.
go. Yeah, so we can do that as well. But more seriously, our hearts go out to the people of the Nashville Diocese, Bishop Spalding and his people. Several were killed in that kind of early season tornado this past week, and so we know chaos can break in on the order of physical nature or live as well. And so we're all concerned about the spread of the coronavirus. And again, our trust is in the Lord. We can't fear and can't live in fear. We can't regard each other more as sources of contamination rather than the consecration and that bond that's between us. So we talk about seeking the face of Jesus, but when people are wearing masks, what kind of impression, what do we behold when we see that? So we know that several have lost their lives already and others have been affected, but we're praying for the medical people, the professionals, epidemiologists, and disease centers for disease control as well. But we want to keep that sense of faith as we behold each other. I think Thomas Merton, the famous Trappist monk who had an interesting life story before that, his famous experience at 4th and Walnut in Louisville, Kentucky, back in 1858, that he talks about in Conjectures of a Guilty Bystander. And I'll just kind of share that little passage there, if I might. In Louisville, at the corner of 4th and Walnut, in the center of a shopping district, I was suddenly overwhelmed with the realization that I loved all those people, that they were mine and I theirs, that we could not be alien to one another, even though we were total strangers. It was like waking from a dream of separateness. We're waking from this world of self-isolation in a special world. This sense of liberation from an illusory difference was such a relief and such a joy to me that I almost laughed out loud. I had the immense joy of being man, a member of a race in which God himself became incarnate. As if the sorrows and stupidities of the human condition could overwhelm me, now I realize what we all are. And if only everybody could realize this, but it cannot be explained. There's no way of telling people that they're all walking around shining like the sun. So I think that kind of beautiful sense that's there, and as faith, that we see the face of Jesus in people, and we ask people for that grace, because probably a few people a little harder in our lives to have that sense.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll visit with Maureen Kenny, Director of Stewardship at the Diocese of Des Moines. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
Hi, this is Father John Ricardo, and I want to thank Caldwell Parish Funeral Home and Crematory for underwriting Christ is the Answer. Losing a loved one, as we know, is never easy, and it can leave you feeling lost and even hopeless at times. But Caldwell Parish helps ease that burden by sincerely caring both about your loss and about your faith. Caldwell Parish Funeral Home and Crematory is Des Moines' only Catholic-owned and operated funeral home. Their number is 515-276-0551 or online at caldwellparish.com.
Impoverished children break everyone's heart, but poverty seems like such a big problem. What can one person do to make a difference? For 17 years, Blessman International's passion has been to connect the resources of our donors with sustainable programs that impact the lives of impoverished children in South Africa. Our donors are feeding thousands of hungry children every week, providing basic water and sanitation for impoverished communities, and sharing the love of God in practical ways every day. Go to www.blessmaninternational.org and make your donation today.
Welcome back. I'm Kelly Misher Collins with the Diocese of Des Moines. You're listening to
You getting the giggles?
Making Jokes.
Our time is precious here, Kelly. Come on. Pull yourself together.
You're really helping matters. You guys are right. I know.
This is Lent. Be serious. All right. People are going to be tuning out. Hear those massive clicking sounds right now. Okay.
You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen, Maureen Kenny. Let's go.
Maureen, good
Yay,
morning. It's good to be
morning.
with you. Somebody I see in different venues and things. But quite honestly, I've been working in various degrees with you for 5 months. I just had you pegged as kind of a Texas gal. I thought, you had Texas roots, but now I find out you got more Midwestern roots. So, so what's the story?
Yeah.
You're hard to pin down.
Yeah, I made a triangle back to the Midwest. I grew up in Bloomington Normal, Illinois. So I went to Illinois State University, the other, ISU. So it was very confusing moving here at first. But I moved down to Texas after I married my husband, and I worked there for the University of North Texas. And
in Denton,
Texas. Moved all the way back up, and Drake University brought us back here and eventually brought me to the Diocese of Des Moines. So I just really love living here and helping you serve the people of Southwest Iowa.
We are blessed. And, you have a gentle demeanor, but you really have a graceful way, and you have your own intensity. I understand, obviously you're dealing with the stewardship of material resources and things and trying to help people to realize opportunities, to practice charity and good, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I kind of talking with you, you're a very spiritual woman, and even it caused a little bit of tension between you and your husband in a good way. Could you share? This is Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen, so you have to out yourself as a woman of faith
for Lent. You mean?
Your spiritual discipline, getting up early.
Yes. Oh, right. Yes. So my husband is doing Exodus 90 with a group of men that are holding him accountable. But of course, it's best practice in Exodus 90 to include your wife and children in that effort, because there's a lot of planning that goes, especially into Wednesdays and Fridays when you have to abstain from meat, right? So the other thing that you have to do for Exodus 90 is...
You can't just pop open a can of tuna fish? I mean, that's what I do.
I suppose you could. Some nights we do get that drastic. But yeah, so we now start our day with an hour of prayer, which that prior to Exodus 90 was my personal sacred time. So now I've had to learn to share it with my husband because he's newly acclimated into this effort. So it's been interesting, and I've gotten more used to it. At first it was a struggle, but I've become more accepting.
Yeah, so I mean, kind of that sacred space of the morning, and to kind of share that. So you guys have gone to a new level of intimacy. I mean, even if you're before the Lord, not talking, but how that is shared. So, but that's kind of a good reality check for this celibate to hear that. One can't idealize that, but we all need our personal space, if you will. And those who've traveled with me know that I'm famous for that, claiming my personal space on a balcony or whatever. But we're here, and it's the kickoff weekend for the annual Diocesan Appeal. And can you just share a little bit the ADA?
Yes.
Okay, and what's that all about?
And it's ADA kickoff weekend, and the annual Diocesan Appeal is the major fundraising effort conducted annually throughout the 23 county diocese, with all 81 parishes participating. And in a nutshell, it ensures the church's mission of serving the people of God in Southwest Iowa can continue. And what does it support? That's a broad question, but I like to answer that with a broad answer, in that it's a collaborative and consolidated effort to meet the broad needs of our community. So I think of an example. My husband and I attend St. Francis of Assisi Parish, and they could get a knock on their parish door from a refugee family asking them to navigate the legal channels to find resources, materials, a job, lodging. And the same thing could happen at the other end of our diocese, right? St. Mary Hamburg would be an example. And what we are fortunate to do as a diocese is consolidate those efforts into an expertise, which is Catholic Charities. And the annual Diocesan Appeal does support, in particular, Catholic Charities in their outreach to refugees.
Okay, so much good is happening at the local parish level, and we think about the principle of subsidiarity. We want to honor that, but there's also the solidarity that we have as a diocesan family in this way, and so how we are assisting and enabling others. We may not be the hands-on people with this, but our brothers and sisters, including, you just can't sleep in a Holiday Inn Express and have this all figured out, right? It's, some people who have professional competence in these areas, so how that goes. So now I think about, you mentioned the outreach to immigrants or people who are looking to integrate into communities. Impact areas, you kind of highlight some as well. Can you just kind of maybe shine a little light on that?
There are 4 impact areas, and these are encountering Christ, shepherding the faithful, supporting local communities of faith, and helping people in need. So if I could, I'd like to break down each of those categories with you.
I'm all ears. Okay.
The first one is encountering Christ, and these are ministries that bring the good news of Jesus Christ to all. When I think of this, I think of first and foremost the sacraments, right? And they're made possible in our diocese by the work that you do, Bishop, in ordaining the future priests of our diocese and making possible the oils through Chrism Mass, which is coming up here pretty soon. And then in another more tangible way, the diocese affords the chance to teach the teachers, right? Give the resources, material, curricula to those teachers and catechists in our parish faith formation programs, so that they in turn could be more effective and efficient in serving, the 6,000 children that attend Catholic schools, and the 11,000 students that are involved in a faith formation program.
Okay, so that, we think about the seminarians being in a formation program, but all of us are really kind of ongoing formation as disciples, as people who can communicate the gospel, but and bring the light of the gospel to bear on whatever particular area we're looking at, and do so and give witness at the same time. So marvelous. So kind of encountering Christ. Very good.
Yeah. The second area is supporting our faith leaders through shepherding the faithful. And this is everything from creating that culture of vocations to, like you mentioned before, forming our seminarians, helping them discern a calling to the priesthood. The educational costs of one seminarian are on average $40,000 per year per seminarian, and by the grace of God, we tend to have 15 seminarians discerning the priesthood at once. Along those lines, we also support the formation and ongoing formation for our permanent deacons, and we support our active and retired priests through the ADA. Not many people know, but the Diocese of Des Moines pays 100% of the healthcare premiums for active and retired priests. And this is an expense of more than $700,000 per year. So we're just really fortunate as a diocese to support our priests like Father Hess, who recently suffered a heart attack, and Father Glenn Wilberdine.
You're not violating HIPAA laws here, are you? No, I think he knows that we're praying for him, and he's on the positive path back to full strength. So.
Yeah, but after our priests give so much support to our faith community and 50 years or more, the least we can do is provide for them in their times of need. Right?
And this would be distinct from my former diocese, where it's up to the individual parish or employer to pay that health insurance. And so this is something that we're bearing, and I imagine there's some advantages there in terms of the group plan. So,
Right.
What else? I guess I'll inject. This past Monday, I did a presentation on prayer, kind of the fourth section of the Catechism with their Catechetical Institute, John Wynn and company, but 40 to 45 people. Some were pre-deacon candidates or deacon candidates, but just folks of all ages, and so it's just a marvelous opportunity, and we kind of unfolded that. So I guess that would be one of those instances where John Wynn and his group in evangelization catechesis are supported through the ADA.
Yeah, exactly. And in a lot of cases, one program or ministry, like you're saying, the Catechetical Institute, falls into one or more of these impact areas. Right. So the third impact area I wanted to mention is supporting local communities of faith and supporting parishes and organizations. And practically speaking, our parishes, if they raise any funds over their ADA goal, those funds get returned back to them at 100% their discretion. And there's a great story in the most recent edition of the Catholic Mirror of St. Patrick's Council Bluffs receiving about $12,000 to spend at their discretion, and they opted to put it towards their paying off their debt of their beautiful new church there in Council Bluffs.
They didn't throw a big St. Patrick's bash. They actually applied it to their debt.
They did.
Wow, that's so disciplined of them. Are they really Irish over there, or what? Okay, I can say that from half of my bloodlines here. That's not an ethnic slur. Okay.
But in addition to that, to me, I was like a business major in college, and this whole idea of economies of scale really intrigues me, and that we can be effective and efficient in carrying out our numerous ministries if we band together on those tasks that don't have to be duplicated by every parish. Mm-hmm. Things like benefit plans, software products, background checks, and virtues training to ensure a safe environment for our children. Mm-hmm. And to date, 21,000 people have been screened, gone through background checks, gone through training, who have interaction with our children through volunteering or their employment at a parish or school or organization.
So not just paying lip service for the protection of children, mm-hmm. but all that goes into that, truly, on the ground. So we're grateful for that. You mentioned, anything over the goal that the parish gets to retain all of that. How are these goals set anyway? Who comes up with this formula? It's not the bishop sitting there, right? I think I have some say in that, but
that's a great question.
I'm consulted, but
Yeah. So what happens is every 5 years there's an independent committee that comes together. It's built up of lay people and pastors and folks who have kind of a skin in the game, for lack of a better word, and they talk through the calculation. It typically ends up being a 3-year average of income at the parish from the generosity of those parishioners, minus any exempt expenses. And a good example of an exempt expense would be if a parish has an assessment towards a Catholic school, if they've got an adjoining school, or they mm-hmm. send their parish children to a particular school, that would be considered exempt from the ADA calculation.
Okay, all right. So this isn't just Des Moines sucking up everybody's money, right?
Most certainly not.
Kind of like, the black hole, right? Just with its tentacles extended throughout the diocese. This truly is a common good that is being pursued, okay? Yes. And I think you've got one more area you mentioned.
Yes, one more area, and that's helping people in need. And these are ministries that open the door for people to receive God's mercy. And I particularly like going from encountering Christ to ending at helping people in need, because I think that's how our faith emulates, right? We try to have that experience with Christ, and then eventually he asks of us, what more can we do? Mm-hmm. And this is the helping people in need areas where that comes to play. Great example of that is this time last year, there was devastating flooding happening in the southwest corner mm-hmm. of our Southwest Diocese. Mm-hmm. And many...
praying that isn't quite as severe this year, but we'll see. That remains to be seen. Yeah, mm-hmm. I interrupted.
But many lost everything, and I spoke with a number of people who were displaced from their homes for months, and they couldn't even get in to assess the damage because those houses had been red tagged, and it was just really, again, devastating. And the Diocese of Des Moines was really fortunate that it could mobilize and raise those additional funds to support these people in their time of need, and then distribute these flood relief grants to more than 800 people in terms of gas cards, furniture, clothing, insurance deductibles, daycare, utility assistance. And that was another way in which having the organization of Catholic Charities and organization of dioceses was really necessary to make that a success or accomplishment.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So not just saying, stay warm and well fed, I'll pray for you, but actually the Matthew 25 spirit, where we really are present and offering those in whom Christ is present already and doing that. So tremendous. And we want people to be spared, but we know life befalls us in lots of different ways. Good. Certain areas really resonate with people, and kind of think how that unfolds. Are there certain things that you've sensed as your involvement that really people almost get out their debit cards or whatever it is they do here? And by the way, how does that mechanism work where people can contribute? I mean, do they have to? Because people don't bring their checkbooks to church anymore, right?
Not yet. That's more rare and rare these days. But folks can easily give online, www.dmdiocese.org/giving. And we just encourage folks to also designate their parish when they give online so that their gift can be applied to their goal. And then you can also return, if they got a letter from you, Bishop, they can return that letter back to their parish or the diocese. And they can also drop off a designated gift in their Sunday parish collection if they choose to do that as well.
Okay. And so pledges over time or whatever, people can realize that. It doesn't have to be that. And, people have addressed letters and already kind of anticipating directly to me, and I want to state publicly that I'm handing all of those over to you, Maureen. None of these are kind of getting lost in the Joensen personal funds. Right. So that's not what's going on here. So that's a marvelous thing. So we're really grateful for your time here, and again, we're praying that our priests, our pastors, and the parishes receive this message. They maybe anticipate it, but part of our Lenten spirit of almsgiving and support for each other.
We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen.
Thank you, Blessman International, for their support of Iowa Catholic Radio. Everyone lives their life 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. How we use that time directly affects if our life will leave a significant impact or not. Each year, Blessman International leads Central Iowans on a 12-day, all-inclusive experience sharing the heart of Christ with children in South Africa. Teams are forming to do something significant in an African child's life. Learn more at blessmaninternational.org. That's blessmaninternational.org.
Thank you, Big Red Q Quick Print, for underwriting the sports report. Family owned and operated since 1980, Big Red Q Quick Print is a full-service print shop ready to help you with all your printing needs with speed and accuracy. Forms, manuals, brochures, letterhead, envelopes, business cards, custom invitations, design, and bindery. Big Red Q Quick Print, located across from Merle Hay Mall. Online at bigredq-desmoines.com. Big Red Q Quick Print. We make printing easy.
That's why I made sure that we pointed out Maureen is a spiritual woman, even if she deals with the worldly goods in that way. So, I'm glad she didn't wear her diamond earrings today.
Her furs.
The weather's getting a little too warm for that. I think her limo's ready to pick her up.
I think I saw it pull around.
Oh my! So that's people will run with that and go the wrong way.
We're just kidding.
She lives a very Spartan lifestyle. So we again we're praying for people. I understand the Vatican had its first case of coronavirus. And, we will be very prudent, and we're trying to put policies in place in the diocese as well. And so kind of ramping that up and where things go with that also. So our Roman seminarians right now are part of this whole 2-week closure of the Roman and universities now. So there's 2-week hiatus there. So they're not just going to kick back and, watch Sports Center or do whatever. They're making it in kind of an intellectual retreat. They're not confined to house arrest or quarantine. They can go out into the city, but and continue this practice of the Lenten station churches, which people kind of make pilgrimage early in the morning for each of the days of Lent to the Roman churches. And it's a beautiful tradition. There's masses in different language groups, but the English Mass is always the largest one, and the NAC seminarians kind of take part of that. So if I know one of my former guests, George Waddle, has a book, Roman Pilgrimage, which really kind of integrates things about the churches and then also kind of the spiritual message. So that's one of the ways we can, even as we're carrying on with our lives, our work, make a Lenten retreat. And I know there are different opportunities for that as well. So what's going on in the world of popular culture, right? I'm as I come out of my little bunker here.
Well, did you ever watch Saved by the Bell? I'll take that as a no. Well, you remember Saved by the Bell, I'm sure. Well, it's in the syndication, so you can catch it any time.
Oh, good. I'll do that in my free time.
Anymore. Yeah.
It's from the 90s. I give him credit.
90s, I was doing my doctoral studies, so,
Excuses.
I came out once a week to go to the sports bar. That's all.
Okay, well, Saved by the Bell actor Mario Lopez, now he's like an extra correspondent, entertainment journalist. Anyway, he posted on Instagram regarding Lent. He posted, quote, "A kind gesture can cultivate compassion because it's more blessed to give than to receive. Give and it will be given back to you." He said on this video, "Peace and love on this blessed day of Ash Wednesday." He was trying to think of what he should give up for Lent, and I was thinking alcohol, but that's no fun. I've done that before. He said cigars, no. Chocolate, I don't have a sweet tooth. But you know what? He's also said, I was also thinking instead of giving something up, what if I give something to someone, like money, my time, or an opportunity that I might not otherwise have? I think it's cooler to give. And so he said, he's already giving up meat on Fridays. That's already a struggle for him, but his Catholic peeps knows what's up with that. It's been around for a little while. So, but he also did share Pope Francis's message of, if you want to fast from that, you can fast from hurting words and say kind words, fast from sadness and be filled with gratitude, and the list goes on and on. So. Okay.
No, very beautiful witness.
So
and
we
again,
can check that out if you want.
Not standing on the street corner and blowing his own horn or anything, but I think giving witness in that way. And sometimes we, can't be bashful about kind of saying what we're about. The world kind of to rouse them to attention in that particular way. So, yeah. I'm still kind of intrigued, Kelly. Do you kind of have like some laughing gas stuck behind the desk here? I mean, you just kind of there as well. So in a Lenten spirit of repentance, I know on my previous show I actually misspoke. And I called Mr. Brian Gonzalez, who's with the Intervisions Clinic. I called him Brian Gomez. I was probably thinking the Archbishop of Los Angeles in that way. So my heartfelt apologies to you, Brad, out there. I'm very sorry for
Brian.
That was intentional.
Okay. That was like, here we go again.
You haven't learned my humor yet. So, again, we're grateful to our listeners. Be sure to text us those instances of Jesus that you might find. Texting 515-223-1150, #Bishop. Grateful for another great show.
You can hear Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen every week on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.